Chelsea Green just crossed a line that nobody saw coming, and what she said about Jordynne Grace backstage at SmackDown is either the most brilliant character work of 2026 or the start of a legitimate real-life feud that's going to get extremely uncomfortable for everyone involved. I'm not being dramatic when I tell you that this backstage segment has wrestling Twitter absolutely losing their minds, with half the people saying Chelsea finally snapped and the other half saying she's speaking the truth that nobody else has the guts to say. But here's what everyone's missing about Chelsea's defiant rant and why her targeting of Jordynne Grace is about to expose the biggest hypocrisy in modern wrestling. And trust me, by the end of this breakdown, you're going to see this entire situation completely differently. Let me paint the full picture because what aired on television was only part of the story. Chelsea Green was in catering after her match, and she was clearly frustrated. She just lost another bout. Her championship aspirations continue to be ignored, and she's watching wrestler after wrestler get opportunities while she's stuck in comedy segments and roll-up losses. Then someone off camera, reportedly a producer, mentioned that Jordynne Grace is backstage visiting and potentially discussing future opportunities with WWE. That's when Chelsea exploded. Not the scripted explosion you see in worked segments, but genuine frustration bleeding through the performance in a way that felt too real to be completely fake. She stood up, looked directly at the camera crew that was filming backstage content, and went on an absolute tirade that WWE probably didn't expect and definitely didn't fully air. What we saw on SmackDown was the sanitized version. Chelsea saying she's tired of being overlooked while outsiders get red carpet treatment, and that some people get opportunities based on hype rather than proven WWE performance. Standard stuff that could apply to any situation. But according to multiple reports from people who were there, what Chelsea actually said was way more specific and way more inflammatory. She allegedly called out Jordynne Grace by name, questioned whether she's actually proven herself at a high enough level to deserve WWE attention, suggested that Impact Wrestling success doesn't translate to WWE readiness, and basically said that wrestlers who've been loyal to WWE for years are getting passed over for indie darlings who haven't paid their dues in this company. That's nuclear heat, and if it's even partially true, we're looking at a completely different situation than what WWE wants us to believe. Drop in the comments right now. Is Chelsea Green justified in her frustration, or is she just being bitter about her own position in the company? Because this is the question dividing the entire wrestling community right now. Let's unpack the layers here because this is so much more complex than it appears on the surface. Chelsea Green has been with WWE on and off since 2018. She's been released, brought back, repackaged, and constantly reinvented herself to stay relevant. She's done comedy bits. Meanwhile, Jordynne Grace is one of the biggest stars in Impact Wrestling, to every role they've given her. A former Knockouts champion multiple times, all that effort, and someone who's built a clear charisma and ability to get reactions. She's athletic. She's never been given a sustained push at the top of the women's division. She's got a unique look and style. If WWE is interested in her, it makes complete sense from a talent acquisition perspective. She'd be a significant addition to any roster. But here's where Chelsea's frustration becomes understandable, even if her delivery was problematic. From Chelsea's perspective, she's been there, she's been available, she's done everything asked of her, and she keeps getting overlooked. Now WWE's potentially bringing in someone from outside who'll probably get opportunities that Chelsea's been begging for. That's got to sting. That's got to create resentment. And that resentment just exploded in the most public way possible. The philosophical question underneath all this drama is, does loyalty to WWE matter? Or is it purely about who's the hottest commodity at any given moment? Chelsea represents the loyal soldier who stays with the company through good times and bad. Jordynne represents the star who built their value elsewhere and is now being courted. Which approach should WWE reward? There's no easy answer, and that's what makes this so compelling. Both women have legitimate arguments. Chelsea's put in years with the company and deserves recognition for that commitment. Jordynne's proven herself as a draw and main event talent in a different promotion. If you were running WWE's women's division, WWE would you prioritize pushing talent that's been loyal to the company? We all know that's not how it works. Or would you focus on bringing in proven stars from other promotions? And when someone new comes in, usually someone already there gets merit to both approaches. Now let's talk about Chelsea's specific comments about Jordynne and why they're so controversial. Chelsea allegedly said that Jordynne's success in Impact doesn't mean much because Impact has had 4 viewers for the last decade, and that Being a big fish in a tiny pond doesn't prepare you for WWE's ocean. That's absolutely savage, and if she really said that, it's incredibly disrespectful not just to Jordynne but to everyone who's worked in Impact Wrestling. Impact has been unfairly maligned for years despite consistently producing excellent wrestling and developing incredible talent. Yes, their viewership numbers aren't comparable to WWE, but neither is their budget, their distribution, or their corporate backing. They're working with a fraction of the resources and still creating stars. Dismissing Impact's success as meaningless is short-sighted and ignorant of wrestling history. But I also understand the emotional place Chelsea's coming from when she says these things. She's not being rational, she's being reactive. She's watching her career stagnate while others get opportunities. And she's lashing out. It's not pretty, it's not fair, but it's human. We've all said things in frustration that we probably didn't fully mean, and Chelsea's doing it on camera in front of millions of people. The really interesting part is how WWE's handling this. They didn't completely bury the segment, which means they see value in it. If you were running WWE's women's division, but they also edited out the most inflammatory pushing talent, which means they're trying to control the narrative. Or would you focus on bringing proven stars from other promotions? They want the heat. I genuinely want to know what you think, but they don't want it to get so real that it creates actual problems. Now let's talk about Chelsea's specific comments about Jordynne and why they're so controversial. Chelsea allegedly said that Jordynne's success in Impact doesn't mean much because Impact has had 4 viewers for the last decade, and that being a big fish in a tiny pond doesn't prepare you for WWE's ocean. That's absolutely savage, and if she really said that, it's incredibly disrespectful not just to Jordynne but to everyone who's worked in Impact Wrestling. Impact has been unfairly maligned for years despite consistently producing excellent wrestling and developing incredible talent. Yes, their viewership numbers aren't comparable to WWE, but neither is their budget, their distribution, or their corporate backing. They're working with a fraction of the resources and still creating stars. Dismissing Impact's success as meaningless is short-sighted and ignorant of wrestling history. But I also understand the emotional place Chelsea's coming from when she says these things. She's not being rational, she's being reactive. She's watching her career stagnate while others get opportunities. And she's lashing out. It's not pretty, it's not fair, but it's human. We've all said things in frustration that we probably didn't fully mean, and Chelsea's doing it on camera in front of millions of people. The really interesting part is how WWE's handling this. They didn't completely bury the segment, the women's division in WWE has more depth, but they also edited out the most inflammatory parts, which means they're trying to control the narrative. Because there are so many talented women who could be featured. They want the heat that comes because television time is limited, but they don't want it to get so real that it creates actual screen time. Chelsea's been in WWE long enough to see women come and go, to see who gets pushed and who gets forgotten, and she's clearly decided she's tired of being in the forgotten category. Her defiant attitude backstage isn't just about Jordynne Grace specifically. Jordynne's just the catalyst, the most recent example of what Chelsea perceives as WWE prioritizing new and shiny over loyal and proven. Chelsea's frustration is about years of being underutilized, and it's all coming out in this moment directed at someone who hasn't done anything wrong except be talented and available. That's what makes this situation so messy and so interesting. There's no clear villain. Chelsea's not wrong for wanting better opportunities. Jordynne's not wrong for being interested in WWE. WWE's not necessarily wrong for pursuing outside talent. But someone's going to get hurt in this situation, either career-wise or personally, and that's the tragedy underneath the drama. Here's another question. Do you think Chelsea Green would be more successful if she was in AEW or Impact instead of WWE? Or is WWE the right place for her despite the frustrations? Let me know because I think she'd be a main eventer in other companies, but that doesn't necessarily mean WWE's wrong for how they use her. The Jordynne Grace angle of this story is particularly interesting because she represents everything modern about professional wrestling. She's built her brand across multiple platforms. Modern social media presence in this weird space worked internationally, and shoot blend and she's become constantly. A star without real feelings get turned into that independence is threatening. Scripted to WWE's traditional model with real conviction, but it's also exactly trying to what makes what's real and what's if Jordynne fake does sign is pointless with WWE because it's all real in the sense that these are real people with real emotions, and it's all fake in the sense that it's being used to create entertainment. What matters is whether it's compelling, whether it makes you want to watch what happens next, whether it creates emotional investment. And this Chelsea Green situation absolutely does all of those things. I'm sitting here breaking it down because I genuinely want to see where it goes, and I'm betting you do too. Final question for the comments. Should Chelsea Green be punished or rewarded by WWE for this defiant attitude backstage? Because I think they should turn her loose and let her be the chaos agent she's clearly capable of being. Here's my prediction for how this plays out, and feel free to tell me I'm completely wrong. WWE signs Jordynne Grace within the next few months. Her debut is built up as a big deal, potentially at a premium live event. Chelsea Green is one of the first people to confront her, referencing everything she said backstage. They have a match that's way better than most people expect because both women are excellent workers. Chelsea loses but looks strong, establishing Jordynne as a top talent while also giving Chelsea credibility by being her first major feud. Then, because this is WWE, they probably forget about Chelsea again and move on to other storylines, leaving her exactly where she was before this happened. That's the cynical but realistic view of how WWE operates. What's undeniable is that they'll use Chelsea to help establish this backstage moment. Then move on without real fire, the favor. Real passion. Maybe I'm wrong. Real frustration that translates to compelling television. Maybe her defiant attitude resonates with someone being an afterthought. She proved she's willing to make waves and create controversy to get attention. Those are all qualities that main event stars need, and Chelsea just displayed them in the rawest way possible. Jordynne Grace is walking into a situation where she's already got enemies before she even signs a contract. That's actually perfect for someone in her position. She doesn't want a honeymoon period where everyone's nice to her. She wants conflict, competition, and the chance to prove herself against people who doubt her. Chelsea just provided all of that, whether she meant to or not. This isn't just about two women and their careers. This is about WWE's philosophy regarding talent development, loyalty, and who deserves opportunities. It's about how companies treat long-term employees versus exciting new acquisitions. It's about respecting what someone's done in other promotions versus only valuing WWE accomplishments. These are significant questions that extend beyond wrestling into every industry. Chelsea Green's defiant moment backstage at SmackDown was messy, emotional, controversial, and absolutely riveting. It was the kind of real feeling that breaks through scripted entertainment and reminds you that these are actual human beings with careers and dreams and frustrations. Whether WWE does right by both Chelsea and Jordynne remains to be seen, but the foundation for something special has been laid.